Yeah. All right. Hey everyone, welcome to the new podcast episode. We have a special guest in today. Dear friend of mine. We've been mates for a long time, since we were 17. So, Bobby Baxter here. Welcome.
Hello.
We're gonna do. It's just gonna be a nice chat, bit of drawing, just a bit of a hangout, and yeah, Bobby. He's a really good artist. Very well known in the industry, especially for animation and 2D animation, 3D as well, a bit of everything. He's done his own comic, Brown Fury, as well, and so much stuff. We're going to dive into it all and have a bit of a chat. Really want to talk about the art industry and just, how you became you, basically, and we'll dive deep.
It's all because of him.
No, not me. And we're just going to do a bit of sketching and drawing, whatever we like, as we go, just for fun. Why not, eh?
Sounds good, man.
Be good. And we're going to have a little drink while we're at it. Yeah. Cheers. So it'll be good. And so let's start off by, I want to really introduce you and just show what you've done. Have a look at this. So, all right, so I just want to share one of Bobby's animation reels here. We're going to have a look and see some animation Bob's done. Feel free to, fill us in.
You'll notice in the top corner it says animation keyframes. So some of these shots, I've gone in and awesome. Done the main keys, and then someone else has come in between some of the small things. So this fight scene, I hand drew all the keys rolling and all that stuff.
Wow, yeah.
And then someone's come in after and done all the color and all that stuff for me. But
nice.
Yeah. So there's a bit of mix of everything. You'll probably notice on it, it says 3D there. I don't really do much 3D anymore.
Yeah.
Earlier days I did more of it.
Yep.
That's sort of what I studied in uni.
Koala Man, yeah.
There's Koala Man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But my whole career has basically been based on just jumping into the next thing that I don't really know what I'm doing. And and figuring it out until I do.
Yeah, yep.
So,
Unreal stuff though. Look at the quality of work. I can see it, everything you've done here, and I know you've got a team as well. But I can tell your stuff, what you've worked on. You've got such a thing about it. I love it.
There's I love the Koala Man. That guy, the guy that was rolling on the ground with the fish, was actually voiced by Hugh Jackman.
Oh yeah.
So it was just so surreal to work on a show with his voice on it.
So cool.
Freaking Wolverine is working on my show. It's not my show, but the show that I'm on too. Yeah, it's cool.
Unreal.
And I did storyboard work on Koala Man as well, and so I got to hear some really sort of early stuff of Hugh Jackman's, that stuff that gets cut out of the show later and stuff.
Oh wow, yeah.
There is some really cool shit that we did for that never made it to TV.
Yep.
But it was kind of cool to be a part of it. Yeah.
It's awesome. This is so cool to see all mashed together. I didn't realize you had it all prepared like that. It's all Is this something that you would use when you're trying to lean into a next job opportunity, and is this a presentation?
Exactly, yeah. Actually, well, the funny thing is I only just threw this together a few days ago. Because I've got basically my work has been pretty steady for years and years, and I've never really had much of a gap, so I haven't actually had to do many show reels. I just kind of roll on to the next thing. The thing with the industry in Australia is it's so small. If you get good enough, you kind of you just know everyone, so you fall into the next job pretty quickly.
Yep.
So I haven't actually had to make a show reel like that for a long time, and that one's only a few days old because I've got a new role coming up, and the bigwigs needed to see our recent stuff. So
unreal.
It sounds like I'm actually going to go into directing, episode directing next, which is a big scary step for me.
That's awesome.
Because I'm used to being the hired gun, and the guy that sits in his dark cave in the back and does my thing really
everything
well.
You've been through as well, like the years and years of grinding as well, and like you've earned it. Like, yeah.
There's a mentality. I mean, you'd be the same. You kind of like, you sit in your awesome little office here, and you just focus on being really, really good at the one thing that you're good at, kind of thing. And directing it's like the opposite of that. You're like, everybody comes to you for the answer. And
oh yeah.
I mean, it's freaking me out a little bit, but I think, you know, it sounds like from guys that I'm working with and stuff that like they're like, no, it's going to be cool. It's going to be a good change. So.
Well, the cool thing about like your stuff and your work is you're really versatile as well, because you know a lot of different things in the art world. Like you can do 2D and you can do animation, you can do storyboarding, concept art, video games. Like you do it all, and like you've spent years in one area getting really good at that, haven't you? And then you'll spend years in that other area, and then so on, to the point where you're now like multi-talented.
Yeah, I always think of myself as like a jack of all trades, master of a couple. Like, you know, I used to say master of none, but you know, years have gotten on. I've figured a few things out along the way.
Here's a lot of Bobby's work. This is the kind of stuff, you know, you would see Bobby doing. There's look, I love that style. So, oh, and this is a page from your comic book. So I really wanted to talk about this because it's just so cool. Bobby came up with his own comic idea, but I'll let you talk about it. Tell us what it is.
The comic actually would not actually have been even made or thought of if it hadn't been for you in the first place, because it was basically Marvel called you out to say, hey, let's go to New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
In like 2016. So it was like 2015 or something when they put the word out to you, and you were like, you want to come? And I was like, well, yeah. Obviously, that sounds awesome.
Let's go to New York.
But then I was like, well, I can't go as like someone who's done art for forever. I was like, I can't walk into Marvel with nothing in my hands. So I just sort of on a whim went, I'm going to try and make a comic to take to Marvel. And it's going to be nothing like what they sell anyway. But I'm like, oh, I don't care. I'll set the challenge for myself to be like, I'm just going to make something and see if I can do it and prove that to myself, and then have something to do while I'm at New York Comic Con standing next to you for 4 days.
So we had our whole booth set up and everything, didn't we? Like, sell art and like Artist Alley. It was so cool, and like we'd never really done something like that, have we? Like
no. So, yeah, that was brand new for both of us. And, I was like, I'll be there to hold your hand and make you feel better. And so I spent basically the good part of like a year, pretty much from when we booked the flights up until we almost like to the day.
Dedication. I remember.
Yeah, it was a crazy year because I was working full time in animation studio at the time as well. So a lot of making this comic was like me getting up at like 5 a.m, working till like 7:38, and then getting on the train, going to work, and coming home. So yeah, there's just a lot of, I mean, that was in the sort of the back end of the comic when I was sort of doing all the artwork for the first couple of months, because I've never written anything before. Like I was basically, I was sort of hired gun for like just making other people's things. Basically my whole life. So I was like, okay, I've got to come up with a story and characters
from scratch, everything.
So I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do? And I'm a big fan of that kind of gross out 90s cartoons like Ren and Stimpy and stuff. I mean, Ren and Stimpy's like the reason I got into
big Ren and Stimpy fan,
drawing and animation and stuff. So I was like, well, I'll just make it about like shit, basically, and be like, well, and if people say it sucks or it is shit, I'll just be like, it is.
I love the idea. They're literally like mutant turds, aren't they?
It is. It's basically me just ripping off Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and turning them into turds.
But they're just each have their own design. Yeah, you've got the little one. You can go a little deeper into each character if you like, and I'll showcase them on the screen.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I've got Scud's the leader. He's just kind of like your I mean, you can basically line these up to the Ninja Turtles. It's crazy. Like, Scud is Leonardo. He's basically...
Oh, yeah. Like the leader.
You know, he's just the leader, sort of the everyman kind of dude who just gets the job done.
Yep.
And then you've got Lincoln, who's like the big, nuggety, huge dude who's your Raphael, basically.
Brute,
yeah. And then you've got Beats, who's the science guy. So... I should say the flavours. So Scud's your classic brown.
They've got flavours.
Yeah. Lincoln is your big, like, Lincoln Log, basically, is where he got his name from. So he's, like, the biggest turd you've ever had in your life. Beats, he's, like, the gluten-free, like, vegan, kind of softer putty. He's a little bit red because someone's eaten too many beetroots. Like, and then Chip is a grog bog, but he's just like that small but deadly, like, you know, just a little chunk comes out, but it's enough to, like, it'll kill you.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah. Chip's basically, like, you can't understand much of what he says. He's almost speaks like a toddler.
That's right.
Yeah, like a drunk guy.
Because he's still kind of drunk. Like, he's the after grog bog, you call it.
Yeah.
But he's still kind of drunk.
Yeah, he's infused with alcohol, so he makes no sense.
I love that. The ideas of them all are perfect.
Yeah.
But it came together so well, and you really, like you said, like, you dedicated your entire year absolutely hammering it out so that you could make it in time for Comic-Con New York. And he did it. And, I remember the story when we turned up to New York and you had to go through customs and you had a case of comics of this you've spent your entire year on trying to get through customs. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it was when we landed in LA and so we stepped foot in America and we were like, we're here. And we still had another flight to get across the country. But we got off and like before we get off the plane, they give you that little slip on the plane, like, have you got anything to declare, you know, you're selling anything or whatever. And I, you know, being honest, I was like, yes, you know, I'm going to New York Comic Con, I've got a stack of comics I'm going to sell, blah, blah. And then, we got through customs and they were like, wait, I think you didn't have anything down or something. You were smart about it.
Yeah, I was so confused on the plane, trying to fill that out.
Yeah. So you went straight through, no worries, and I was sort of behind you and looking, and I was like, okay, he's through, I'll be good. And then, they stopped me and they were like, oh, wait, you've got a box of comics, you can't sell that. And I was like, I'm not here to make a profit or anything, like, it's literally just covering the printing costs of, like, making this thing, like, and like, you know, if you had like 4 or 5 samples, that's fine, but you've got a box of comics, we're gonna have to shred those. And my face just like went totally white. I was like, oh my god, a whole year
all gone for nothing. Like,
you and Mark are over on the other side of the room just staring at me, going, like, looking over, going, what's going on?
I remember seeing how shattered you were. You were like ruined. I just remember seeing you just like, there goes all my like work.
Just white as a ghost, And so, anyway, they sent me downstairs. Like, basically, there was like a sort of travelator or something down to where the bag collection thing is. Like, we're going to send you down there. There'll be a person waiting by the bag collector. They're going to talk you through what happens next. And I was like, okay, God, I hope this story doesn't get me in trouble. Never get in America again. No. Anyway, go downstairs, and on the travelator down, I fill you in, and you're just like, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
And I get to the bottom and I'm like, I don't know. I'll just sit next to you with an empty table.
You were absolutely ruined.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. And anyway, I got down to the bottom and sure enough, there's a person standing there next to the travelator, and my suitcase is coming around and they grab it off for me and they're like, this is yours? I'm like, yep. And they're like, okay, just walk over to that guy there and out the door and just to declare anything to that guy. And I was like, okay. So I walked over to the next person and he was just sitting there and he's like, got anything to declare? I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, on your way. And I was like,
and you were just like,
get the hell out of here.
You got to keep them. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then we just kicked on, didn't we?
Yep. Well, it was a domestic flight from there, so there was no more border Border Patrol, whatever they're called. And
no, New York Comic Con, that was amazing. We'll get into that a little bit more soon, hey. I really want to talk about that whole trip, like our booth, everything like that. First, I want to like showcase a little bit more of your work. Look, I love your style. You've got such a cool animated style, even in just your drawings. Like every little character, like here, you feel like it's all bouncing around and moving, just like sushi.
Yeah.
Your ideas are great too. Just the stuff you come up with out of thin air is hilarious. Tassie Devil there, love that.
Yeah, that was for a little bushfire when we had those really bad bushfires a couple of years ago in Australia.
Yeah,
the whole country was burning.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, there was a little group of animators that sort of decided, hey, we're gonna put a little book out just to, raise some money for some of the wildlife centres that were struggling.
Yep. Another pose.
Yeah, I did a whole page of like little poses. I'm like. Yeah. I couldn't settle on one. I do that all the time. I'm sort of like
this is the coolest pose. I love that. That is so cool. This is nice. Look at that. Earthworm Jim. That's my childhood there. That's really cool. See your style. Like this is a good example of you. A lot of your work, you have a texture that's going through the renderers. Oh, cool! You did this for your daughter, Frankie. Yeah. So cool. And that's all her soft toys and things like that? Her favourite things.
Yeah, so it's like it was a few years ago now, but it was for her 4th birthday, I think. And I just got a bunch of her teddies and drew them up as made it look like she had her own show, basically. Yeah.
She would have absolutely loved that, I reckon.
Yeah. But now I've set the bar so high. I do one every year.
Every year, yeah. Oh, that's funny. Oh, here we go. Some more concepts from Brown Fury.
This is a bit of early stuff from Brown Fury.
Yep. I love the G-banger on Chip.
Hoiked up a little too high. Yeah.
So cool. Oh, I love it. Heaps of really cool stuff. That is great. Star Wars. Yeah. It's endless. You got more Brown Fury. Is this another early one? This is proper?
That's early stuff. So they're wearing more like Earth clothes, I suppose, because it ended up being a sci-fi thing. I think the sci-fi whole idea sort of came from me not being a particularly good writer.
Oh, okay.
And was just like, hey, if I make it in space, I can set it wherever I want it and change the story as I need to.
Great idea.
Yeah. Whereas when I was setting it on Earth, it was kind of like, you got to create the
pretty
whole,
restricted as well.
Yeah, you got to like create a whole new set of rules and
That's
stuff.
That's clever. Yeah, real smart.
In the time that I had, I was like, I can't be a big Stephen King and come up with a big idea. Like,
it's like. So it's kind of like Ninja Turtles mashed with Guardians of the Galaxy, just mashed with turds.
Pretty much. Yeah. Just smushed together, stuck together with poo.
This is one of my favourites of yours, Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
Have a look at that. And there's a little Groot there. Absolutely amazing. Like the colours, everything just falls into place perfectly. And I can see your... because you are educated in all this stuff too. You studied and went to university and everything, like, so you have a really good understanding of all your colours and all that stuff, which we'll talk about more soon as well. I just want to like showcase a few more of your... That's so cool. Absolutely love it. Look how smooth that is.
Oh yeah, so that was a little test I did. I found out Clip Studio Paint. You use that, don't you?
Yeah, that's my main.
Oh right,
yeah.
So there's animation tools in that program.
And you did this in that?
I did all of that in Clip Studio.
Oh wow!
It was really cool. It was just like a couple of nights a week. I sat down and I was just like, I'm just gonna try and work out this timeline thing and make it see if it works. And it was actually like super cool. I reckon you should have a play. It's really cool.
Yeah, I want to. I honestly didn't know you could do. Because that's like your proper animated stuff. This is awesome. His Spider-Man pose. Throwing your Bobby Baxter style through Spider-Man is a real... That's so cool, because like I don't see that much like that.
No, I mean, growing up in the shadow of Patrick Brown, the Spider-Man man, a little bit daunted to bring up Spider-Man around.
No. I'd love to see a show, like an entire cartoon like this. How cool would that be?
Yeah. Well, I like that Sean Galloway dude. He's
awesome.
He's sick, and his Spider-Man I really loved. Like, yeah.
Unreal. Yeah, these are great. We were talking about these earlier because we're going to try and do some drawings soon. And just Bobby's going to come up with whatever, and he's going to come up with like a little something like this to add to the collection, aren't you?
Yeah.
What are they? Like, it's more of a, like...
I guess it's just like, Aussie animal, like... Well, the shows that I've been working on recently, like I worked on Koala Man recently, which is very much the tone of that. Like, it's that real Australian, like, low key, a little bit like there's lots of bogans,
Aussie humour.
Yeah, there's Damo and Darren, the druggy dudes from Dapto, and so there's just a lot of that humour floating around in my workplace. Anyway. So I get these ideas for these kind of characters all the time, like just imagining like a cane toad on his smoko, and
I feel like I can the bird. I feel like I can hear his voice. Yeah. And same with this guy. Like I can just picture their voices. Yeah. And, like, how they're talking and stuff. Just the way they're saying, like the like bogany kind of. Yeah. It's funny. It's hilarious.
Emu I was like picturing as a sort of almost like an apprentice, like a young apprentice kind of tradie. Yeah. Who's trying to impress the older cane toad who's just, being there saying that, oh my God, just shut up and let me drink my Farmers Union iced coffee. Like.
Had a ciggy?
Yeah, I want me bloody smoko, would you piss off, would you?
Oh, he's got his iced chocolate there. Yeah. Iced coffee, I mean.
Yeah. And his blue power, the other guy's got his blue Powerade because he's, he works out.
It's so cool. And that's it to show.
But, we've had very different, like, similar career paths, but very, very different as well. I feel like you knew exactly what you wanted. I mean, you started in graphic design and stuff, obviously. As a kind of like young person, you kind of just told that that's what you're supposed to do. I think
because it was never a thought in my mind that I could end up doing art as a living, earning money enough to live off anyway.
Yeah, so
graphic design was our thing.
Yeah, exactly, and we both sort of went. We were both in newspapers and stuff for a while. But yeah, I think I sort of. You kind of knew what you wanted to do from day one. You knew you wanted to be a guy who drew freaking Spider-Man and those guys like really, really well.
Oh, it was real passion, yeah.
Yeah, and GDA, oh man, that's really GDA stuff. But it was very hyper focused of like you just wanted to draw as freaking best that you could, and
as much else. As I could. I was just fan art. I basically used fan art as a way as stepping stones, like because it gives you a reason to draw, and more often as well. I thought, well, I love these certain things, whether it's a game or a movie. I'm like, well, I'm going to draw that because I'm feeling, you get that buzz, whether you're really excited about something, and just draw it. So I just started churning it out, and it was really just a way for me to try and level up more and just as the time went on. So and
it was sort of a different trajectory for me because I feel like I didn't have that like hyper focus of like I just want to be a really good illustrator. I wanted to be a really good illustrator, but I also wanted to be an animator. I also like 3D at the time in the early 2000s was just like, to me it was just like, whoa, this whole crazy new world. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I was just like I was just kind of amazed by it. I remember seeing Toy Story for the first time, and it was like I used to walk away from animated things as a kid kind of already having in my mind of like how animation works a little bit and being like, yeah, that's cool. But then when I watched Toy Story for the first time, that was the one where I was like, how the freaking hell did they make that? Like, how did they make toys talk?
Yeah, because it was just one of those things where it's kind of never been done, and it was just fresh. Felt fresh.
Yeah, I'd never seen that sort of level of 3D animation.
Blows your mind.
And so that sort of opened up a whole new can of worms.
Yeah.
So yeah, my whole career was basically like dotting between just opportunities and learning a new thing each time, and not really ever saying no.
Yep.
And it made me kind of like never really master anything for a long time. Like I felt like I was kind of just okay.
Yep.
Like just good enough to make it work.
Oh yeah.
In so many millions of different things. It was like making flash games, making video games, making storyboards, making 2D animation, making 3D animation, doing newspapers, doing graphic designs, like and then I think it was sort of around not long before Brown View, it was probably like a couple of years before that. I sort of I went through uni to study animation and stuff, and then the global financial crisis happened and the whole industry collapsed. We got out of school and went, yay, we got degrees and there's no jobs. So then I spent another couple of years like just bouncing around going, what am I doing now? I'm going into e-learning. I'll do some animation, corporate animation there. Blah, blah, blah. And then eventually I finally found myself back around like reconnecting with some people in the animation studios, and they were like, hey, we've got these shows coming up. And then once I got in the door there, my career's kind of gone on a pretty steady trajectory of like, okay, I work in animation now, so like for TV basically. So and it's been pretty steady, which is good.
Yeah, been through a lot with it all. How about we do some drawing then, hey? We'll get straight and we'll keep chatting. Let's do it.
Make me look pretty. Draw me like one of your French girls.
Hey everyone, bit of a freeze frame here. Just need to let you know, I made a mistake. I accidentally forgot to press record on Bobby's iPad. So his recording isn't going to kick in until about like the hour mark or a little bit after. So we do get to see what he's drawing and we get a fair chunk of it at the end. But unfortunately I missed a bunch and I'm an idiot. I'm kicking myself. So sorry about the inconvenience. So it's just going to be my screen showing whatever I'm drawing. Bobby's also drawing. I don't think he had too much anyway because we mostly talk, but yeah, just wanted to let you know. So sorry. And back to the show. This is actually the last podcast I had with Paul Cameron, and this is kind of where I got to. It's absolute rubbish at the moment because it's my super roughs. Like I always work super rough. And for anyone who's just kind of tuning in, I've got this idea where I want to do like a t-shirt design, like a character. You know how sometimes you see characters or cartoony art on t-shirts and it's just supposed to be simple but kind of pops and it's got an idea to it. I want to do something like that with like, I just thought of a clicker from The Last of Us, but I want it to be like running, and I was going to have like a fishing line, or, no, what is it, a rod or like a stick, you know, and there's something tied to it, like the classic kind of chasing the carrot on a string, never-ending running or whatever. I don't know. Probably a stupid idea. But I got the clicker doing it with something. I was going to do like the mushroom toad from Mario, maybe hanging from it, screaming. I don't know. But for now, I'm just going to draw the clicker just for fun. I did I kind of worked and re-sketched a little bit. This is kind of what I came up with. So yeah, I'm just gonna chip away at like trying to clean it up for a bit of fun. And Bobby's just gonna do Bobby, whatever you want to do. We were talking about like those other characters you had, the little bogan Australian animals. Yeah. Where's my ciggy? And you want us to do like a like a possum?
Yeah, we're like, what's a weird Aussie animal I can draw that can channel a bit of that Aussie bogan attitude, that koala man-esque kind of feel. And so I whacked in marsupial into Google or whatever, and the first thing that popped up was the bloody, the only American marsupial. But I was like, man, that guy looks wilder than I know. Like, he's like, I think I was saying before, he's like the Aussie that was so bad that we just sent him to America.
It's got rid of him. Yeah, it's the most scruffiest bogan looking possum you never see.
It's terrible, man.
Feral.
But it looks so much like he lives here. Like, mate.
How you going?
Down the down the servo, picking up his ciggies.
Yeah.
No one's going to know what the hell we're talking about.
I know. We've got our Australian humour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have a crack at drawing an opossum because those guys just look wild.
Why not, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to mess around with my clicker and see if I can clean it up. Hopefully. But yeah, we should probably talk a bit about our childhood. Like, I call it childhood, but like, we grew up together at the age of like 17. You were 17 when I met you, weren't you?
Yeah, so I was a little bit older. I think I was like 18.
Yeah.
Oh no, we were 17 when we met.
We're only like the same age for like 2 months, I think we are, or a month and a half.
Couple of months.
Like
Yeah.
But yeah, we met in year like 11, I think, in design class in college. So, and we kind of just we had a group of friends, didn't we? Like we have our bunch of friends. We kind of formed together. We just all kind of bonded, didn't we? Like over design and art, and
it was weird. Like it was that age where we're all still nervous and like shy little bloody artists. And, and I think I was in your class for maybe a whole year and I never spoke to you.
Oh yeah, we were.
I think we were.
It was a while actually until you and me we really connected, because even when we were hanging around our group we didn't talk much.
Yeah.
And until we just year 12 I would say we really started to.
It's when we really kicked off, and you got a car and we started riding around in your car.
The paddy wagon, you called it.
The paddy wagon, that's right.
It was a Ford Falcon, and it used to be a taxi, so it had like a big gas tank in the boot that it runs on gas or petrol, so you could like flick a switch. It was so cool. I remember I nearly blew my arm off. Remember when I was trying to show you guys, look, you can like open the petrol cap and there's a gas bit, and I pressed it and my heart, it just went, and my whole arm flung back. It was red, raw, and tingly for like 2 hours. Anyway, we
were probably all like, oh, whatever, mate.
Yeah, whatever. But it was funny, yeah.
They were the days. Yeah, we didn't speak to each other for ages, and then and there was a couple of us. We were all the same. There was a couple of us in the room, and we're all lifelong mates now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was sort of like we were all either too shy or too intimidated by each other's work.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was a little bit of that. Like I'd look over your shoulder and you're drawing like Tommy Versetti as if it's like come straight off the box.
Oh, it wasn't very good. I wish.
I mean, for us at the time.
Yeah. You were really good at animating. I remember. You were really good at that, and I was like, man, I wish I could animate like that, because I wanted to kind of be one back then.
When you look at it now, you're like, I was not good at animation then. But at the time,
we were learning. Yeah.
When you're in a tiny little town with no one around.
Yeah.
And
a little small town.
Yeah.
But so we started off there. We had our little group. We'd catch up a lot for the next year or two, and then you like year 12 ended, and it's like, whoa, the realization for me, I was like, wow, now I've got to try and get a job, and I was just assuming any old job, and then you and the group came to me and said, hey, you want to let's all move to Launceston and go to TAFE and study in graphic design, and let's do something with this, and like all live together. And I remember I was like, I don't know why, but I was just like, yes, let's do that straight away, no hesitation. And we did, and then we moved up, didn't we, all together?
Yeah.
And lived together in this tiny little house. It was a two bedroom house. And it was so dinky, and like you could walk up the hallway and there'd be potholes in the carpet, like you'd fall through the floorboards, and like that's how bad it was. Yeah. And the bathroom had a carpet flooring for some reason. It smelt moldy and horrible. Anyway, that's all we needed, isn't it?
The carpet.
That is all we needed back then.
Yeah.
we were just like, we were paying like $20 each rent and for like per week or something, wasn't it?
It was ridiculous.
It was so cheap, and we just had the best time of our lives up there while we studied. And yeah, I was studying diploma in graphic design, and you guys, were you doing the same, or were you in multimedia?
Yeah, I was doing multimedia. So the only reason I was doing multimedia was because I was so into 3D, and it came up on the course, and it was like the course was like a year long, and it had like a 4-week section of 3D, and I was like, that's the only 3D going in Tasmania.
Oh, wow.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
so,
it's crazy.
So we did it, and yeah, our other buddy that we lived with, Ian, he was in the same class, and him and I were kind of like
easy.
We were sort of, I guess, the 3D gurus of year 11 and 12.
Yeah, you guys were guns. You guys were machines with that stuff.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, we had sort of different styles or whatever, but like we wanted to go on, and we had the dreams of Pixar and all that kind of rubbish.
Ian was really good. Ian was really good at it.
Yeah. So yeah, we knew that we couldn't get into university. We didn't have the marks or the grades for that, because I squandered all my year 11 and 12 basically. Like year 11, I went in to and with the best intentions, like, I'm going to get some good marks so I can go to uni. And I did like the maths and the sciences and the English and stuff, and then like music and a couple of visual arts thingos, and realised by the end of the year that like all my grades in maths and science and all that stuff was awful, and I was just not making it at all. But then my artistic stuff was like through the roof and getting like, great scores.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, year 12 came around, and I was just like, I give up. I'm just gonna study all the fun stuff, and and I'll worry about it later because I'm young and invincible.
Yep.
And then sort of got towards the end of year 12 and went, oh no, I've made a mistake now, because now I can't get into any unis that I wanted to go to.
Oh yeah.
So that TAFE course came around, and it was like, hey, we've got a couple of weeks of 3D in this thing where basically it was mostly building websites.
Course. Oh yeah.
And which is all totally redundant these days as well, because
that's right. Yeah,
the code's all different these days.
Everything's different. It's pretty much useless now, isn't it?
Yeah, but we all, we all studied at the same place, just different courses, and that was kind of the start of that whole thing of like me never really falling into the set one thing that I was going to be good at. Multimedia literally was like. Well,
multimedia. You got a really good understanding of all that. It all works, doesn't it? Like, it all means something.
Yeah. So
use it eventually.
The good thing about it these days is I'm so multidisciplined that I'm never really out of work. Like,
you could do anything.
Yeah, I get called on for character design and storyboards and animation and
it's unreal.
All sorts of stuff.
I remember when we were in TAFE, and I was so naive and young, 19 or whatever I was, 18 even, and no, I would have been 19, and I remember I was like failing. I was in graphic design, and it was towards the last chunk, the last 3 months or 2 months, and I was literally, and it was all because I was like, and we were in like a party stage as well, and all I wanted to do was just kind of go to TAFE. I was so naive and stupid that I was like, I'll just go there, and like I was doing okay, but all I really wanted to do was just have a fun time. And then I was failing, and it was thanks to this one teacher, and she's literally it saved my entire life. I don't even think I'd be doing this right now if it wasn't for her. Her name was Melissa at TAFE. She was a teacher. She came up to me and she goes, Patrick, she just slayed it out straight. You are failing. What are you going to do after this when you fail? Like, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? It just shook me, and I was like, wow, you're right. Like, I am, I want to be in the design field. I want a job in this. So I knuckled down, and I remember staying late after everyone... the place was like closed, literally. Everyone had left, and I'd stay there at 9 o'clock at night. They let me, and just said, lock the doors when you leave. I don't know why they did that, but it really helped. And I absolutely just hammered through my assignments, everything, and passed eventually. And yeah, all thanks to her, honestly. And that got me in my
encouraging, slightly scary person.
Yeah, I know.
In shape, isn't it?
I wish I could find her and just thank her. That honestly shook me up, and I was like, you know.
She probably should have told you to like move out of our house because we were shocking. We were probably the ones sending you down the path of failure. I think. Oh no, that house was mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fun though.
Yeah. They were the best years. Like I, would never trade that for anything. They were such good times.
We used to just sit and draw in the house sometimes, just in a hot sunny day, leave the windows open. We would just draw on the couch, wouldn't we?
Yep.
Because we were the only two artists. Well, hang on, we had Ian as well. But he didn't really draw too much.
No, he was a heavy sort of 3D dude, but not really into the pencils and paper kind of thing. Yeah.
No, but it was really good. And then, and then I got my, I finally got some job opportunities by the time I was 20, I think, and I went into some graphic design jobs, Walker designs and stuff like that, and then that was awesome. And then finally settled into a full-time job at the local newspaper as a graphic designer, and I was there for like 8.5 years, and that was amazing because it was amazing because look, it wasn't creatively as testing. When you're at like a design studio like the one I was at before that, it was like pressure. It's like, there's a new logo design that needs to be done, and they're expecting top quality, all that stuff. The pressure's on. Yep. Newspaper is more just making sure that the pages are all designed nice, making sure that it looks good and presentable, and but it was a lot easier because it was just banner designs, lots of text, and very simple kind of stuff. So, but I was really grateful because it really allowed me to draw as well. So when I had my work done, I would draw. So yeah, and that's where that all came in. Fan art,
pretty cushy. A good thing going on there for a long time.
So lucky, to have that.
Yeah, I remember I was in newspapers, and it was a very different story because it was.
It's not always like that.
No, well, you were in like the big newspaper in town, like the one that sort of, went out to all the mainstream things.
Yep.
And my first newspaper was like the monthly kind of ones you find in your mailbox, and you're like, what is this thing? Like those community newspapers. That, So there was like my first newspaper was like 2 graphic designers on it, 2 salespeople and 2 writers or something like that. It was a tiny little team, and so for the first part of the month, because it was like a monthly paper, the first 2 weeks of the month would be just dead quiet while you're waiting for the salespeople to run around town and get all the ads together for the paper.
Yep.
And then the last 2 weeks of the month were just like the worst. They were like, there is not enough hours in the day for this job. Like it was mental. There literally wasn't. There was actually one night I was very scared for my life.
Really?
I got into work at about 7 in the morning because I knew it was like the last day before we went to print.
Yeah.
So I got in early, like 7 in the morning, and worked basically 24 hours straight and left. I think it was maybe even more than 24 hours. I think I left at about 8 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah, yep.
After finishing the paper, because I would put all the ads together, and I would do the editorial layout as well. Yep. So the entire, like basically the front to back of the entire paper, was designed by me and this other guy. And so we lived in I lived in Wynyard, and I worked in a town called Penguin. Known for its penguin. And that's probably like 40-minute drive between the two, something like that.
Yeah, about that.
And so, I'd borrowed my mum's car at the time and driven to work that previous morning. And then I knew that she had to get to work the next day. So I was like, well, I've got to drive it home. but I hadn't slept for 25 hours or something.
Wow.
So yeah, by the end of the 40-minute drive, I was basically screaming at myself, like, stay awake.
Oh, that's so risky, isn't it?
Yeah, so it wasn't sort of long after then when I was just like, time to get out of the newspaper.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to sort of move to Melbourne. And
yeah, that was good. I remember you were up there for a while.
Yeah, that's where sort of everything kind of took a turn back into animation. So I moved to Melbourne from Tasmania up to the Big Smoke because there's universities and real design places and stuff in Melbourne. And I got there and I was like, I'm going to be a real designer.
Yeah.
And I spent about 3 months searching for a job. And landed one, and it was in exactly the same job as what I had when I was in Tasmania. It was another independent newspaper, monthly.
Yep.
2 graphic designers, 2 salesmen. It was like, it was so identical.
Oh no.
And it was just, it was like deja vu. And so I did that for about a year, close to a year, not quite. And then that's when I met Hayley, who's my wife now.
Yep.
And she was a designer as well at the time, on like baby products, like doing pram designs and like like pattern designs for blankets and prams and all that sort of thing.
Yep.
And she was just as dissatisfied with the job as I was.
Yep.
And so she was like, I'm going to get to art school, and I was like, okay, I'll follow you into that. It took me about another year. She did her first year, and then I sort of, because I'd missed the mark by the time.
Oh yeah.
So the year had already started. But yeah, by the time I sort of saw what was going on with her, with uni and stuff, and I was like, hey, this sounds like something I should do. And we were at mature age, like students by then. So like what we were saying before, how I didn't have enough marks for getting into uni out of high school. Now we're old enough, it didn't matter. Like they just accept you. So
yeah, good.
Which really made it like actually work in my favor. I think going to uni a bit older.
Yeah.
Because I had work experience, world experience. I also knew that like didn't want to muck around anymore. Like I wanted to make the career work, and Yep.
Yeah. No, that's good. Like it's the amount of stuff I've been through, and like all the challenges like that, just traveling, and like because you went to Melbourne, you've been to Tasmania, you've been and you're originally from WA as well, like, aren't you? So
Western Australia.
Yeah, yep. When you're a kid and that, and but like the art industry and world, you've had so much more. You've got millions times more experience in that industry than me, because you've just been in, out there, companies after companies, haven't you? Just all these different things.
You're just falling on my ass into the next thing. Over. Which it was exhausting for a while. But I think it's paid off. You kind of you 100%. Get to a point where it was like making the comic. Was like I basically took the skills of the newspaper job, like page layouts and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Making sure it read. I understand how the eye moves across a page.
Lots of little things you learn
from those little things. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just having all that kind of experience in like InDesign and stuff. Programs that like a lot of animators and stuff would never have opened.
Same.
They've got the whole Adobe suite, but so many people would never touch that.
I learnt so much just from working in a newspaper for 8.5 years, in the way of even just spelling and like grammar as well, especially picked up a lot on there. But InDesign really got good at using that, and Illustrator as well. I was able to really hone in, and just because we had all the programs we needed, and especially Photoshop, I just you just get to really knuckle down on and try and get good at those programs. Like they all come in handy at some point, don't they?
Yeah, and you just pull on that experience again, like You never know when it'll come up. So what I've always sort of, well, not always, what I've started to realize in the last few years actually is generally it was the jobs that I was not enjoying, which was actually where I improved the most.
Oh, okay.
So what I've found, like, I mean, the last few years now, like, I still feel like I probably improve a lot, but it's sort of, I see it as the steps go. I see less of it kind of like clearly, and it's because the job's so challenging and whatever, like, so you're content by the end of the day. So I don't do much work for myself, like my own sort of artwork now, which sounds depressing, but it's actually not. It's like because the work that I'm doing is so full on and enjoyable that I don't really need to create my other stuff, my own stuff so much. Whereas when I was trapped in jobs where I didn't enjoy the work, I was putting in so much time, like outside of work, to improve and make steps to get the hell out of there, to move to the next job. So I always sort of tell people, never be like discouraged by, you know, working, I'm not there yet, I'll work some shitty job or whatever. It's like, they're the times where you're going to be like actually making waves, like really changing. That's when you put the energy in to get out of there.
Exactly, because you just get that drive.
Which is, you know, that's exactly what you were doing at the newspaper. Like, not that you hated your job, but like you were doing your stuff on the side. Non-stop. Flat out.
Non-stop.
And really your artwork was just going like a
I was having so much fun with it too. But that was only because I had the opportunity to do it. Like, because there are a lot of jobs, like I feel really bad for a lot of people out there who have the natural talent to draw and they want to be artists and they want to do it. But obviously you've got to pay the bills and regular jobs, and you spend all your hours of the day doing that to the point where you're probably really tired and you don't want to draw by the time when you get home, and then they never really get to pursue the passion. So I was extremely lucky in the way of that job. Just for some reason, it was pretty insane. Like, some reason I would go to work and I would only need to do about 2, maybe 3 hours of work in the day of graphic design for the paper, and then the rest is just nothing. Like, it was just you're just sitting there. I could be just surfing the web, but like going on the internet and just like looking at mindless stuff. But I would rather just draw. I was like, I'm just going to use this time as an opportunity and draw. So I did, and I really cherished it. Like, I was grateful, and I made the most of those moments. So that was really cool how that kind of worked.
I worked a few corporate sort of jobs, and like I enjoyed my time there, enjoyed the people I worked with and stuff, obviously, but it was like the work itself just sort of ate away at my soul a little bit. And there were the times like get home and I'm like, right, I'm gonna like draw what I want finally, after being bound to a desk drawing like people in suits and people in I don't know, it's just like really boring. There was a lot of like OH&S sort of like workplace safety stuff, and it's you know, our job was to try and make it fun, and it was just so not fun. It's just like there's only so much you can polish a turd. There you go, Brown Fury. But and I look back on those days, and I look, you know, you can go back through my Instagram and you will see like there was this period of time there where I was like post, and it'd be where I was working at those jobs. Because they were just like bang, 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 and then like huge chunks of time where there's no post. I'm like, he's got a good job there. Like, he's been working on a TV show, like a really good TV show on that chunk there.
We should talk a little bit more about, let's talk about New York, because that was an epic trip that we did together in 2016. So, we were just like, how did it come by? Basically, we had our other friend Mark as well, great guy, and like one of our best friends, and we, he also came with us three. And we were just like, let's go to New York. I think because when I was working with Marvel, I was like year 2 in with Marvel or something like that. I think because I started in 2015, so I was nearly 2 years in with Marvel, and they had mentioned, if you're ever up our way, come up and we'll give you a big tour and all that stuff. So that really encouraged me.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that's nuts. The amount of work that you'd done for them in that 2 years.
I know.
Is insane.
And that's especially because when I took the leap of going full freelance, I basically left the security of my comfy little graphic design job, and I was like, well, now Marvel, that opportunity came by and they want me full time, you have to dive in the deep end and just like quit your job and all that. Anyway, it was a really scary moment, but it really paid off. And so after doing a couple of years of work for them, they were like, you should come up sometime and we'll give you a tour. And I jumped at the chance and I told you guys, and then Mark, he was great. He organised most of a lot of stuff.
Oh, dude, he was all
insane.
Over the place.
And he's great with the flights, all that stuff too. Anyway, we eventually went. We got there, and met Marvel. They gave us the tour around the entire studio. How insane was that? Like the feeling.
Oh man,
It was so intimidating, but also exciting. Yeah, and then they also were nice enough to be like, we're going to pay for your booth if you want to do Artist Alley at the Comic Con, and then great chance for you to join me, and we that's when we were like, you should do something big for it, and you were like, did the comic, like you mentioned, and got that together and started selling that, and I was selling all my work at the Artist Alley and a lot of Marvel stuff as well, and it was just insane.
It was crazy because it was it was about the first 4 days or something, wasn't it? It was basically, we just got there, we had a day to get rid of the jet lag, and then it was Comic-Con time.
It was intense.
That was it was
feeling.
It was the first few days was like a work trip, and it was just like, whoa.
So it took in this 20 hours or something to get there, didn't it?
I think 31 hours. I think we did of travel.
Wow.
on the way there
from leaving home and all that. Yeah, insane.
Just from basically leaving the airport here to getting there. It was nuts, and I'd never done a trip that big before. That was my first huge around the other side of the globe travel. And then Comic Con was over. Have you ever spoken about any of the people you met at Comic Con? I remember meeting a few people and just
Well, I got to meet Kyle Petchcock there because we had talked online a lot as well. He's a great artist, and we met in person for the first time there after communicating, and also just going there. I got to meet Ryan Otley as well. He had his own booth because he's my main big influence. I was nerding out big time there. And Umberto Ramos, he was my original first big influence. He's a Marvel artist, Spider-Man, best known for. Really great stuff. And he was there. And I was like, this is perfect because, I went up to him and I was like a little,
don't you just turn into a little child again when you're around people like that? You're just like, what's wrong with me?
Oh, it was funny. I have the photo of me with him. That just was the best. And he's such a cool, nice, relaxed guy. And you got to meet your idols as well. Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, Bob Camp was there. That was
I was so excited for you.
Yeah.
I remember you were so excited, just running off. You're going to go meet Bob Camp.
Yeah, well, the first couple of days at Artist Alley, it was like, because we'd never done one before, we didn't really know, like, what to expect, so, or like how to even run this thing. So we bound ourselves to the table for the first 2 days or something, didn't we?
We were winging it.
We were too scared to like leave because we were like, well, what if someone comes over and interested?
Yeah, we didn't want to miss out on the money, like the chance to like sell something, because we were having a good time and like so, but we didn't really get to experience the whole con, did we?
No, and then it got down to like the last 2 days, and I sort of went, shit, you know, we're an artist. We're like surrounded by amazing artists here. Yeah. And I haven't had a chance to have a look around at any of them. Like, I've just been sitting at my desk trying to sell my stupid comic. And so I was like, right, I'm going to do a walk around and see who's here and whatever. And walking down, and I'm like, Bob Camp's here? What the hell? I'm like, yeah. So Bob Camp is, he's like one of the really co-creators of Ren and Stimpy, and he sort of took over the main reins of it after the whole John Kay falling out thing with Nickelodeon and stuff. So, but anyway, super, just legendarily nice guy. And, so I went over to his table, and I saw he was doing con sketches, and I was like, oh, I've got to get one. So put in a request, and he was like, yeah, sure, pick it up tomorrow. Like, yep, come back Sunday, and it'll be here for you. And I was like, oh my god, I can't wait. Yeah. And so Sunday rolls around, and I'm like, okay, it's my time. I got to go see him. And I was like, I'm gonna just take my comic. I'm just going to take one and give it to him. Like, oh no, you probably get 1 million of these, but here's mine. Never would have been made without your influence. Which is totally true. Like, you know, Ren and Stimpy is literally the one thing that I saw as a kid, and I was like, I feel like I'm not supposed to be watching this. Yeah, it was like that. Felt naughty. Yeah, yep. And that sold me. I was like, I'm in. Yeah. I took my comic over to him, and he gave me the con sketch, and I was like, mumbled some rubbish, and he just like he stood there, and he took it, and he started flicking through the pages, and he's like laughing and reading it like right in front of me. Awesome. And then he's just like, this is amazing, man. And he's like, there's someone, and he rattled off like some names of like people who make comics and people I should go and talk to that are there at the thing, and my mind just could not process any of it, because I'm just like, oh my god, I'm being accepted by my own. It was just amazing, and I reckon what blew my mind even more so was I don't know, it was a good few months or even a year later or something, I get a message on Facebook from Bob Camp, and he's like, oh, I've just been sitting on the toilet reading your comic, and I'm cracking up. And he's like, and I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? I remember that. He actually like sat down and actually, you know, it's not just like this token, like he just said that on the day. He like came back and got back in touch and
legit wanted to get through it finally. And
that just blew my mind. I was already so happy after that whole thing. But
do you know what?
To have that on top of it.
Do you know what I love? And I'll never forget it. Was when we had our booth. Yeah. And you had your comics set up and everything, and when that kid came over, there was a few kids, and with his dad, and he was like, what is this? And he's like, and you explained it, and he's like, I have to have this. Yeah. And he was flipping through every page, like just laughing hysterically. The smile on his face that you brought was like gold. And never forget that. That was awesome.
They're the moments, man. That's what it's all about.
It was a good feeling, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was, you know, I was never going to sell like 1 million copies of that thing, and it doesn't really bother me. And a lot of, you know, I do get the odd people sort of coming along and say, when's the next one coming? Blah, blah. And, you know, I would genuinely love to make another one. I love it. But my God, it was a lot of work. And just to get I mean, that was a single issue. It was not a full graphic novel. It was like one issue.
Yeah.
It took me a year, just because I take my time with stuff, as people could probably see by my page here. I've sketched absolutely jack shit.
It was a real passion project, wasn't it? I'm sorry, everyone, but I just realised that I did not record any of Bob's screen at all, so...
That's good, man, because I've been talking and not drawing anything.
I'm so sorry. So Bob's screen has just been blank this entire time, and it's like, oh my goodness.
That's alright.
I'm shattered, because that was like my main thing I wanted to set up, was that you drawing with me. Oh man, I'm shocking. But I'm really glad you got to... Everyone can finally see what you're doing.
It's fine. Like, I was literally leaning over to you going, I'm going so slow at this. So, skip to the end. That's good. makes me look faster.
That's good. We've got it finally underway properly, hopefully. And I can, well, you're up to your inks now, and good spot to be at. Anyway, sorry, what were you talking about just before that?
I have no idea anymore.
Sorry.
That's alright.
We'll just finish like talking about the Comic Con stuff. And
so then we actually got to have a holiday after that.
We did. We went around and had a good look around New York, didn't we?
Yeah.
One thing about when we were at the booth, though, in New York Comic Con, was, and we got to sit next to Frank Brunner. Remember?
Oh, man.
He's the original creator of Doctor Strange. He came up with the idea of, he pretty much drew the concept of him, didn't he? Created the character.
Yeah.
And we couldn't believe it. We're like, whoa, really? And he was right there with us. Such a cool guy, wasn't he?
Oh, dude. We were so fresh-faced and just, like, didn't... Like we were pretty old by the time we got there. We were sort of like, what, mid-30s or early 30s or something?
Early 30s, yeah.
So, we weren't like kids, but we were just fresh-faced to the whole idea of Comic-Con and Artist Alley and stuff. That was an all new world. And this is a veteran dude who's been around for forever, and he was just so blunt and real. And
he had that kind of asshole attitude, but it was kind of a cool asshole.
I loved him.
The fun kind that you're not offended by. It's kind of like, oh, that's hilarious. The way he was throwing out the words and just so laid back.
He just sat down and he's like, oh, so where are you guys from? Whatever. And we're like, we flew out from Australia and this is our first Artist Alien. Like Patrick Brown here, he's working for Marvel now, and Frank just turned around and he's like, working for Marvel, welcome to the machine. That was my favourite quote of the entire trip. Welcome to the machine.
Yeah, that's right, he did. Oh, it was hilarious. He's like, don't ask, don't fucking tell. Remember that? Yeah. We kept saying it the whole trip. We just kept mimicking what he was saying.
I loved every chat that I had with that dude. He was so cool.
Oh, he was the best. Yeah. And then when we finally got to go look around New York, it was awesome. Times Square. We went to some the kind of dive bars and things like that to really have it, just sit and have a drink and relax and just, I don't know, it was nice.
Marky's a really big rock and roller dude. So he teed up all the local dive bars that were, the ones that are left.
Yep.
But I loved that because, those in Melbourne, that was a big scene for a long time, and they kind of died off as real estate tycoons and corporate world took over, and there's just not that many of those really cool old school rock and roll bars around anymore.
It was so cool. It was awesome.
Yeah, I just had the best nights, and New York's just got such a rad It really is nowhere else on earth like that place.
I remember it felt like my impression of New York was just, it was so alive, and it just felt like it was buzzing, like you're in a beehive.
Yeah.
And it was just insane, and the smells, all
some good, some bad.
When you're walking up the street, and it's one smell hits you intense, and it's and then there's another smell and another smell, and it's just all different smells, and it's pollution, or it's fried food, or it's feces on the sidewalk. or sewerage,
oh man,
construction, metal, oil smells, anything like that. It was intense. It was like sensory overload.
Yeah,
and
it really was.
The one thing I thought as well was the people felt so alive. They were all talking and chatty on the phone, but they got their phone on speaker. They'd be talking out loud and like,
yeah.
You don't see that around here. Like everyone keeps to themselves a little bit. Yeah, it was pretty. Everyone's so vocal up there and talkative.
Yeah, it really felt. It's a weird place. It was a weird vibe of like somewhere between like a community that and like this big machine that sort of runs this big community, but also really dog eat dog as well. It was kind of like like almost a scary kind of like I don't know how to describe it. We live in a very small, quiet place, though. You know, like it. But yeah, there was a very dog eat dog kind of feel to that.
That's right.
To just that whole place in general.
Yeah.
I imagine it would be a very exciting, but also what's the word for it? Like exciting, but like it would grind you down a little bit. Kind of place to live.
Yep.
You know, it would wear you out.
It would. It'd be tiring and like kind of crazy. Yeah. How you going?
Oh, you know, I'm doing something.
Now that we can finally see what you're doing.
Let's make him.
That's cool.
Reach for
That's awesome.
A beer.
We'll wrap it up shortly anyway, eh? I couldn't believe that we even got to do that kind of thing though and go up there. So that was a really cool eye-opening experience, especially with Marvel. Like I was really fresh and new, and it was scary. It was like intense, but they were so welcoming. They took us out for lunch and dinner, didn't they? We went out out to a bar. That was awesome. All that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think my favourite, like overall, the whole trip was definitely probably the cons, and just especially when we went to just Coney Island. I remember we were like, hey, let's just go here and like have a look, and we went out there and we ended up having the best time ever.
Yeah, that whole day.
Yeah.
The fact that I found it, like we went our own separate ways, and I found you. Like. Just on the other side.
It was like the morning.
city.
We were like, okay, we're getting close to finishing our trip or whatever. We had a few days left to think, and we were like, let's. I was like, I would like to just like see if I can experience the place for myself. I just wanted to. We all kind of spread out in our own ways, and anyway,
we're bloody sick of each other. I had a bloody gut full of you. I've had a bloody enough of you.
But by chance...
Paddy is such a light sleeper, I reckon it was my snoring. Like, you were just like, I've got to get away from this freaking idiot. I'm just going to go and do a bit of shopping by myself. No, you were just like, get the hell away from me, Bob Baxter.
That was good. But by chance, how crazy was that though? We like, I was wherever I was. I think I was in Soho trying to buy something for my wife. And then you were somewhere way different, like Greenwich or something rather. But by chance, we ended up bumping into each other without even contacting. We didn't talk on phone or anything. But it wasn't like that. It was like you. I was just minding my own business, walking around, and then all of a sudden, like I had this little strap man bag thing with all my stuff in it, and this guy just scruffs me, and he's like, takes the bag, he's like, give me that. No, what'd you say? You're like,
I can't even remember.
I can't remember.
You ran up and stole your bag off me.
I was like, what?
Like a street thief.
I know.
It was so weird. I was just like walking along the street, minding my own business, thinking that I'm just like somewhere completely random.
Yeah.
Just exploring, basically. And out, like, it was like 20 meters in front of me. Out walked Patrick Brown, straight out in front of me, and he didn't see me. Just like, I was just like, are you kidding me? And I had to double take. I'm like, I am about to go and like pretend to steal off the guy, and I'm like, it's 100% you.
You had to make sure.
Yeah, I'm like, imagine that. I'll just run up and like flog a bag off some other dude.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, and so I was just like, I'm just gonna belt down the street, and so this 6'6" dude running down the street towards you, and you didn't even turn. You just like staring out looking at the street. And I just ripped the bag straight up your arm. Oh shit! That's mine, you bastard!
Yeah.
And he spun around and then he's like, "What the hell?"
Oh, so like I thought I was getting jumped.
That was the best.
It was funny. It was good. Good moment.
And then we had a very awkward like, "Well, I guess we're hanging out now."
Oh, it was good.
No, I love hanging out with you.
But how good did it play out? We're like, right, what do you want to do? Let's go to, and you said, let's try Coney Island. All right, I've never been there, and then we went there. Literally the best time that we've had the whole trip. Like we were just like, it was iconic.
You had no idea either. I don't think that like Coney Island, that whole area is where like Nico Bellic and Roman lives.
It's literally GTA 4 in real life.
And so when we got off the train there and walked out down those steps from that like overpass railway thing.
Oh yeah.
You were just like...
I put the theme song on and we were walking up the street and we were like, oh my goodness, this is perfect.
Oh man, you just turned into like a kid in a candy shop.
Geeking out, loving it.
Couldn't believe it. It was amazing.
It was the best. Loved it.
I mean that was a highlight for the trip. Just seeing your face.
Yeah.
We got up there and you were like, what? And then we walked down to the beach and he's like, and there's like Russians in tracksuits like sitting there drinking vodka and like playing their little card games and shit on the beach.
And, that's right.
And you're like, there's actually Russians.
Yeah. And they're wearing tracksuits.
Yeah, they're actual tracksuits. Yeah. So good.
Anyway, let's wrap it up, eh? This is great. I want to see what you've done. Oh wow!
I'll turn this other layer off so we can see.
Yeah.
Because it looks like he's reaching for his crotch.
I'm so glad I've actually at least remembered to record your audio. That's cool. What have we got here?
Yeah, imagine you turn around and you're like, oh, your mic hasn't been on the whole time.
No, let's redo the whole episode. That's cool. I love that he's reaching for the triple X. Or the 4X. Oh. Yeah.
I've got to say, I am a terrible multitasker. I'm surprised I was able to actually draw anything and talk at the same time.
Oh, that's great. Oh, me too.
I'm shocking.
What? Can I have a look at what your other sketches? Because you had a few different ones.
Yeah, sure.
This shows all of your stuff.
All right. Oh, God, here we go. So here's...
Oh, cool.
Early one.
Is this the possum thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all that little possum dude. I was just trying different...
Oh, that's so cool, yeah.
Another one.
Then you got
then there was... Oh, hang on.
Yep.
Drag him over. Sorry. Ah!
I think it's only because it's a hidden layer or something, rather.
Ah, got the wrong layer. I am very new to Procreate, so...
Yeah, you got the hang of it.
Oh, no.
I think if you press undo, I think because it's... Oh, it did cut out, did it?
Yeah.
It must have cropped off. That's fine.
That's alright. It's just another guy. It's the same dude.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's cool. I love what you've done.
But yeah, I like to just draw the same guy sometimes and like get a few different poses and stuff. Yeah. Awesome. And also, trying to talk while you draw is like a skill I have not mastered.
It's a challenge, yeah. I've had to try and get used to it after trying to do so many tutorials and things like that. And drawing and talking at the same time is really, you have to get used to it. It's very tricky. Yeah. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Let's leave it there. That was a good chat. Hopefully I covered everything that I wanted to, but I think we did because we just kind of just went into it.
Go rambling.
That's the best way to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Anything you want to plug? Any Instagrams or any links?
I mean, there's Bobby Baxter cartoons on Instagram, but I post probably like 1 or 2 things a year at the moment because I'm on good shows. Probably can't plug any of the stuff I'm working on because I'm not allowed to, but keep an eye out for. I don't know. go watch Koala Man. That's something I worked on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, go watch that. That's very Australian and very up my alley, and I just really had a good time working on that show. Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know.
Yeah, happy with that? Oh, yeah. Good. I'm glad to get a plug in. I nearly forgot that too.
Yeah.
I'm still getting used to this podcast thing. So, anyway, all right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. See you next time.
Later.